Hello everyone and thank you for joining. Now if you didn't already give a like to the live, I would really appreciate one. Now or later, whatever is good, it really helps the live being promoted to more people. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the camera so everybody can see my screen, and I think I'm just going to get right into it, and then a little bit later I will check to see if anybody's saying anything. I'm monitoring the chat, so from time to time I'm just going to check out if anybody has asked something or said hello or anything else. We're going to pick up from where we left off last time. We're basically in the second to last module from the Freecodecamp course, uh, and we are somewhere in the middle of that module. So we have a challenge here, kind of an exercise. It's called the DNA pairing, and they say the DNA strand is missing the pairing element. Take each character, get its pair, and return the results as a 2D array. And they say best pairs are a pair of AT and CG. Match the missing element to the provided character. Then it says return the provided character as the first element in each array. So for example, if you get something like a string like GCG, for each letter you have to make an array in this array, in the result array, where for G you get a C, for C you get a G, and for G again you get a C, and for T would be AT or TA. The character and its pair are paired up in an array, and all the arrays are grouped into one encapsulating array. So what I'm going to do, I like solving this in Visual Studio. In Visual Studio Code, basically what we have to do is kind of like loop to this string, create an empty array, loop to this string, and for each letter return kind of its pair. So what we want to do is we want to make in here like a map, and what we want to say is for G we want to get back C, because that is pair. For C we want to get G, so we're using an object here to translate one letter to its pair. And then for A we want to get back T, and for T we want to get back A, right? So we have let's call it translate, or I don't know, it doesn't really matter. We're just gonna call it translate. And then what we want to do is say an empty array const result equals, we're starting with an empty array because in the we're gonna return an array of arrays. It's gonna be empty at the beginning, and then we're going to say for let I equal 0, I less than string length, and then I plus plus, because we want to access each letter of the string. We want to say result push. So we're basically gonna push an array in there, and this array is gonna be basically made up of the current letter. So it's gonna be, this is gonna be string, the string of I, right, at this particular, and then the second element is going to be its pair. So we want to say translate of string of I. So for example, if this current letter would be a G, then we will get a C back. So we have G and C in this array, and we will push it in the result, and then we want to return the result. All right, do let me know if you have any questions, but this one is pretty straightforward, so hopefully the explanation was good. And this one seems to be working. All right, let's submit and go to the next challenge. and this one is called missing letters, and it says find the missing letter in the passed letter range and return it. If all the letters are present in the range, return undefined. Okay, so basically we have to like you're gonna get a range of letters and you have to return which one is missing. If this would be like the alphabet, right? Alright, so let's see how we're going to implement this. Let me Google alphabet string. I need a alphabet string, right? So something like this. Let's say let alphabet and we're going to say it's this, and then let's see how we're going to implement well, let's make this alphabet actually we're going to make it actually let me think how we're going to do this. Okay, so let's say we're going to say we're going to start a string from the first letter of the string. It's going to be the first letter, right? Actually, let's start let substring, and it's going to start with an empty string, and then we're going to say while substring, and we're also gonna start with index of letter. I'm going to write something long here because I don't have really a good direction where I'm going, but we're gonna try to like refactor it a little bit later, and we're gonna start from 0, right? So then we're going to say while substring is different than string, what we want to say we want to say if well, we first want to say a substring will be equal, we want to add the current letter at index of letter, right? So we're going to say substring equals to substring plus string of index of letter, which is gonna start with 0. So first time is just gonna add the first letter and because the index is 0, right? And then we're going to say if, and we're going to say if alphabet does not include, so we're going to say includes substring. So if at this moment it includes substring, we want to do something if it doesn't include. So this one checks if it includes the substring that we have at the moment, which at first is going to be the first letter, and we want to do something if it doesn't include. So if it doesn't include it, it means well, it's not going to be possible the first time to not include it, But once the substring doesn't is not included anymore in this alphabet, it means it has reached a letter which is basically a jumping a letter. So basically, if we have something like A, B, C, D, and then all of a sudden we have A, B, C, D, F, then A, B, C, D, F is not going to be included in this because it's missing the E. So then we know we have jumped a letter. So then the letter that is missing would be the one that's before it. So we're saying if alphabet includes doesn't include substring, then we want to basically find the where this letter is in alphabet, the one that we added at the moment, which is string of index of letter. So we want to say const index in, actually let's say let index in alphabet, or how are we gonna do this? Let's say here const index in alphabet equals 2, and I'm not sure if we can do index of on strings. If not, we're gonna have to transform it in an array. So we're going to say alphabet. I don't think index of work does index of work on strings. Index of on strings JavaScript. Oh, it does work. So we're gonna find alphabet index of and we want to find the index of this current letter, which is string of index of letter. And then once we find it, then we want to return the letter previous in alphabet previous to this one. So we want to say return alphabet of index in alphabet -1. And then after this if, we also want to increase this index of letters so that we next time we add the next letter in this string to this substring, because we're going to start from nothing, and then we're going to add the first letter, the second letter, and so on until it reaches a letter where that substring is not included in the alphabet anymore. So we want after this one to say index of letter is, well, we want to say index of letter plus plus, right? So then here at the end you don't want to return nothing, because if you went through this loop and it hasn't returned a letter yet, it means it went through all the string and it didn't find like a mistake at any point. So if you're not returning anything in the function, it returns by default undefined. So let's try it out with let's say console log no letter of A, B, C, D, F. Right, so let's see. It should return an E, and it returns an E. So let's copy this, put it in here, and let's run the tests. It seems to be working. All right. Well, okay. So then we have a sorted onion, one that says write a function that takes 2 or more arrays and returns a new array of unique values in the order of the original provided arrays. In other words, all values present from all arrays should be included in their original order, but with no duplicates in the original array, in the final array. The unique numbers should be sorted by their original order, but the final array, I don't get what they're saying here, but the final array should not be sorted in numerical order. Check the assertion test, for example. So 132, 521421 should return 132, 5, 4. Yeah, so basically you're basically going to the first one and you're just getting unique ones, and then you're going to the second one, and if there's any new ones, you add them in the order that they come, and so on, I think. So let me copy this, and basically what we're getting is an array of arrays. I might use a reduce with this one. Now, if you haven't learned reduce, I do have on my channel a really good series on the reduce method, which works on arrays, and you can basically reduce them to an object or a string or an array or anything, right? So this is an array or arrays, and what we have to do is go to each array and push all the non-duplicate ones in their original order, and then push from the next ones the same, but don't have any duplicate. So I think what we can say is return array reduce, and then what we want to say, we're going to get in reduce, we're going to get a function with an accumulator and a current value, right? And then we're going to reduce this to another array. So we start with an empty array, and in this function what we want to do is we always have to return the accumulator at the end, and then what we want to say, first we want to make the current, in case the current array has any duplicates, we want to remove them. So we want to say const no duplicates, and we want to make this no duplicates in this array. So what we can say is spread it in a new array, and we're going to say new, we're going to use new set of current, and when you use set, is going to set on an array is gonna make you a set of only unique values, and then you spread it in an array to basically transform it back to an array, right? So then you're going to say for no duplicates, and you want to say for each, so for each of these, for each no duplicate in this array, you want to say, for each no duplicate, you want to say if, and you want to say accumulator does not includes, so you're gonna say accumulator includes no duplicate, and you want to negate this. So if it's not already in the accumulator, then you want to push it in the accumulator, right? So you want to say accumulator equals to, you're gonna spread the accumulator, and then you're gonna put this no duplicate, right? And then at the end you just return the accumulator. All right, so this should be it. Let's give it a test maybe with this one. So let's console log this. Oops, something happened. Number one is not iterable. What exactly is going on? New set of current. What is going on here? Do we need this like this? I'm not sure what equals to. Wait, am I getting something wrong? New set of current, but current here is we get an array of arrays. Oh wait, the problem is this function actually gets two or more arrays, so it doesn't take an array of arrays, it takes two or more arrays, so you can like pass more of them. So what we want to basically have here, we want to say say takes two or more arrays and returns a new array of unique values. So I think here R should be like this, because you basically can get more parameters. I don't know why they put it like that. So let's try this again. Thank you very much for the like, by the way. So let's try this, and we get 1, 3, 2 and 5, 4. So we basically have to use the rest operator so that we can pass this function as many parameters arrays that we want, and we get like the result like it says here, 1, 3, 2, 5, 4. So let's copy this in here and run the tests, and this seems to be working. I'm gonna get some water. Alright, so here they say convert the characters ampersand, less than, higher than, a double quote, and apostrophe in a string to their corresponding HTML and entities. Okay, so why do they not give us? I mean, they just make us Google this stuff, honestly, because I don't know what are the entities for this. I'm gonna have to find like HTML entities, and we're going to have to make a map. So what I want to do is I'm gonna copy this here, and I want to make a map for translation. So it's like something like const entity dictionary equal, and it's gonna be an object, and then here we want to copy all these things, and this one, okay, and this one I think I need to put it like this, and this one like this, and for each we're gonna have to give them a value. I will just give it something like this for now, like an empty string, but we're gonna have to look up the HTML entities for them. What is going on here? Why is it not working? Do I need to put this in I may need to put this in something like that. What's the problem? Why is still not working? Is this not gonna work? Maybe this one as well. Okay, so let's go like this. Why is this not saving? I don't know where the problem is. I think this is an extra thing here. Okay, so I think this should be okay. We have 5, right? And then we need to find the entity for this. Control F. and we have this. So we want to have this here, and then you see, then instead of giving us the things, they make us look for them, because that's what you do as a developer, right? You search for things. Okay, so this is LT. I assume the other one is RT, less than or greater than. Probably this one is greater than. Okay, let's find for this. Is this the one? No, is this one? Quote, and then this one probably apostrophe, right? So then we have this dictionary, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the replace method with regex, which basically encompasses all of this, right? So what I want to say is, I want to say replace, and I want to use here a regex, and here for now I'm putting this like this. Now I also have, did I already say, I think I have yeah, I have a series on the replace method as well, for videos, which goes pretty in depth as well, how to use regex in replacing, to do some really nice replacing in strings. So it's really useful. So I think in here we need a regex, and this regex basically has to be a group of these characters, right? So what we want to do is, I can say, actually I can make the regex here like this, or we can just say here, so that we don't get too fancy. We're just gonna say any of these characters, this, or this. We want to be here, basically we can get like function which is going to get the match. But here's the thing, we need to do this, we need to give a global identifier to this regex, because otherwise this regex, when it's replacing, it will only find the first match and replace that one. But if we use the global identifier for regex, it's going to do it for each sequence of any of these characters, right? And then we're going to use a function to replace, and we're going to say function match, and in here what we're returning is what is going to put instead of the match. So if the match is this, we want, when it's finding this match, we want to tell him what to return. So what we want to say is, we want to return entity dictionary of match, right? Because we basically want to return the translation of this match. So let's see if this works. Let's see if we didn't make any mistake. Let's put this like this, and we want to say here console log this, right? Clear. Let's see if we get any errors, and we don't. It seems we are getting the right response for this one. So let's try it with all the tests, run all the tests, and this seems to be working. Like always, regex rules. All right, let's go a little bit further. I'm just gonna close this window. There's this dog like barking outside. All right, I'll get some water since. All right, so this one is called sum all odd Fibonacci numbers. Given a positive integer num, return the sum of all odd Fibonacci numbers that are less than or equal to num. Okay. The first two numbers in the Fibonacci sequence are 1 and 1. Every additional number in the sequence is the sum of the two previous numbers. The first six numbers of the Fibonacci sequence are 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8. For example, some fibs of 10 should return 10 because all odd Fibonacci numbers less than or equal to 10 are 1, 1, 3, and 5. Alright, so let's copy this in here. And basically what we want to say is we want to say basically we want to make two variables. Let current number and let previous number, because we only need to keep track of these two numbers, right? And we want to say let previous number equal 1 and current number also equal 1, because two of them, both of them are 1 at the beginning, right? How are we gonna do this? Actually, let's make I think it might be easier like this. Let Fibonacci numbers, is this not a word? Okay, equals, and we're going to start with 1 and 1, right? And then we're going to say while, and we want to say while the last element in this array is less than this number, we want to keep adding numbers to the Fibonacci numbers array, because we have to keep going until we reach a number that is higher than that one, right? So we're going to say while Fibonacci numbers is Fibonacci numbers of, is this not a word? I think this is not I think it might be Fibonacci unknown north. Let's see what they say. Quick fix Fibonacci. Okay, so we want to say while Fibonacci numbers of Fibonacci numbers length minus 1, which is means the last element of this is less than or equal to number, then we want to say, what we want to say is we want to push in this Fibonacci numbers another number, and that number would be basically the last element plus the element before it. Well, the last element plus the element before it. So we want to say Fibonacci numbers push, and we're going to push Fibonacci numbers of Fibonacci number length minus 1 plus Fibonacci numbers of Fibonacci numbers length minus 2. So basically the last Fibonacci numbers length minus 2. So basically the last element and the element before added, we're adding a new element, right? So we're doing this while this is less than or equal to num, right? Now because we're doing this while is less than or equal, it may like go forward when we're adding a new one here, right? So well, it's gonna go forward with 1. So after this while, we want to basically remove one element. So we're going to say Fibonacci number pop. We want to remove that last element, right? And then what we want to return is basically just the sum of the odd numbers. So we're going to say return Fibonacci numbers, and I'm going to use reduce again. You can easily use reduce to make the sum of an array. For this one, we're not going to make the sum of all numbers, only the odd ones. So we want to say return or reduce, and we're going to say accumulator and current. And usually if you want to make the sum of all the elements of the array, you would return accumulator plus current. But because you only want to make the sum of the odd ones, you want to say accumulator plus, and in here we're going to use a ternary operator. Well, first of all, you also want to pass it starting value, which is going to be 0, right? Because we're making a sum, so we want to start with 0. And then in here we're returning accumulator plus current, but we only want to add the current one if it's odd. So here we're going to say a ternary operator, and we're going to say current modulo 2 is equal to 1, which means is odd. Then we're adding basically current, otherwise we're adding 0, right? And saying this current modulo 2 equal 1, you can also say current modulo 2, which means if this is a truthy value, because this would be a truthy value only if this would be 1, because otherwise it would be 0 and it wouldn't be truthy value. So you can either say this or you can say this, and it's the same. So basically here we're adding to accumulator, we're returning accumulator plus, and here we're adding this current one only if it's odd, otherwise we're adding 0. So we're leaving accumulator the same. And like I said, I do have like 4 videos on the reduce method where it's explained in detail. So let's copy this and let's run the tests. And this seems to be working. Seems we are on a roll today. Alright, this one is called sum all primes. A prime number is a whole number greater than 1 with exactly 2 divisors, 1 and itself. For example, 2 is a prime number because it is only divisible by 1 and 2. In contrast, 4 is not prime since it is divisible by 1, 2, and 4. And here it says rewrite sum prime, so it returns the sum of all prime numbers that are less than or equal to number. Okay, I'm getting tired now because I also work today with more code. Anyway, let's I can believe we only been like 38 minutes in and I'm already like feeling tired. Okay, so what we want to say, thank you very much for the like, much appreciated. And I'm going to check if anybody said anything. Alright, so we want to sum up all the prime numbers up to this number. So I think I'm gonna make like well, first of all, I'm gonna make a helper function that checks if a number is prime. So we are going to make a function is prime that gets a number, and it should return true if it's prime. So we're going to say let is prime equals true, All right. Um, so it's starting as true. We're returning it at the end. It may change in the meantime. And then what we want to say is we want to say we're going to start with a number that is half of this number, or like, well, basically if you have 7 you get something like 3.5, but you only get like the 3, you don't get the 3.5. So we want to say let the visor is equal to, and it's going to start with well, it's going to start with math floor. We want to get, basically, if you have 3.5 and you say math floor, it's going to get the 3, and it's going to be math floor of a number. And then we're going to say well, actually this is gonna start with false, so we're saying it is not prime. Then if this actually no, this starts by true, like I said. Yeah, it starts with true. And then if we find a number that can divide this one, the number, if it can be divided by that number, then we make this one false. So I think we can just keep dividing by 2, and if we don't find any number, I don't know if it's gonna work like that, but if none of those numbers are gonna be like divisible, like number is not gonna be divisible by any of those numbers, then it should be prime. So we wanna say math floor of number divided by 2, and we want to say while number well, what we want to say, while number modulo divisor is different than 0, which means it's not divisible properly, because if number would be divisible by divisor, then the modulo would not be 0. So while number modulo divisor no, but if we do this may go on forever. We want to say while number modulo divisor is different than 0, and divisor is higher than or equal to 1, because we don't want to keep divising or keep making the divisor math floor of number by 2, and it's just gonna keep saying 0 0 0, and it's gonna keep trying a number modulo divisor, right? So we want to say while number modulo divisor is different than 0, and divisor is higher than 1, because we don't want to have 1 as well. What we want to say is we want to say divisor. We want to basically say divisor equal to math floor of divisor divided by 2. So we'll basically keep dividing and we get the math floor, right? And at the end, if the divisor is less than or equal to 1, well, we can say return divisor is higher than higher than 1. So return divisor higher than 1. We don't even need this thing to start like that, right? we're just saying if the divisor is higher than 1, it means it found a divisor which is higher than 1 for this prime number. So let's test this out with some let me go back. Let's test this out with some number, because I'm not sure if my logic is correct. But let's say console log is prime of 13, maybe. No, 13. And let's say, oops, convert HN. Oh, what is this here? I don't need this. So let's see. It says false. Why? Return divisor is higher than 1. No, so return divisor is, so it's the other way around. So it's basically if the divisor is less than or equal to 1, then it is prime, because it means it has basically got the divisor to 1. So it was wrong there. So now this is saying true. Let's try 24, which should be false. And let's try maybe 29, which should also be prime. So it says true. So we did basically this function to check if a number is prime, right? And what we want to say is what we have to sum up all the primes up to this number, right? So we want to say let sum equal 0 for let I equal, well, like this, for let I equal 0, I less than or equal to num, I plus plus, and we want to say if is prime of I, then what we want to do is add it to the sum. So we want to say sum plus equal I, right? And then here we return the sum. So I can copy these two functions in there. Let's run the tests. Sum primes of 10 should return 17. For example, so they return the sum of all prime numbers that are less than or equal to num. Why is this not working? Let me try with 10 here. The sum primes of 10. What am I getting? 27, and it should return 17. Is this? Why is it returning 17? Let me console log all this. Console log is prime of I. Well, console log I, because we want to see which one it says that they are prime. Oh, why is this going up to less than or equal to num? 0, 1, 2, 9. Why is he getting 27? Oh, this is the sum here. So let me take this off. Whoa, what's going on now? Why is it not? Oh, because I'm not even running the thing. So let's do this again. So we get 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9. So we get 1 and 2, 3, 3 with 3, 6, with 5, 11. Why is it, why does it think 9? Oh, that doesn't work, because here I'm basically dividing by 2 every time, so this is not gonna work. Do I have to actually try to divide by all the numbers here? That's kind of sucks. Well, maybe I can just start from this number, and then we're saying divisor minus minus. So I think we can start from like the half of it, and then we're just checking with everything. And if we're doing that, that should work, but that's not really that optimal, but yeah, we can do that. Yeah, the logic that I came up with first for is prime wasn't really working because you were missing some numbers. Okay, why is this not returning 17? 1 plus 2 plus 3, 6 plus 5, 11 plus 7, 1 plus 2, 3, plus 3, 6, plus 5, 11, plus 7, 18. Why is this returning? Oh, so it's only if it's higher than 1. Return divisor is less than equal to 1, and we can say and number is higher than 1, so that it doesn't consider 1 prime as well. Unless they want negative numbers as well. Okay, this works. Alright, we got another one called smallest common multiple, and it says find the smallest common multiple of the provided parameters that can be evenly divided by both as well by sequential numbers in the range between these parameters. The range will be an array of two numbers that will not necessarily be in numerical order. I don't get anything they're saying here. For example, if given 1 and 3, find the smallest common multiple of both 1 and 3 that is also evenly divisible by all the numbers between 1 and 3. The answer here would be 6. Okay, so basically given two numbers, you need to find their smallest common multiple that is also divisible by all the numbers between them. Right, how should we approach this? Okay, so we got two numbers. We got an array with that will not necessarily be, so this could be in different order. So we want to say first const sorted equals to, and we're gonna sort this array a b. We want to sort him in ascending order, so we return a minus b in this sorting function. This is how it should be, I think. Let's just try it out to make sure. Smallest commons of 5 and 1, and we console log this. This should give us 1 and 5, otherwise our function for sorting is wrong, and we get 1 and 5, so it's correct. So we have this sorted, and instead of having this array, we want to say let's create a range, maybe let const range equal to, starting with an empty array, and then we're going to say for let I is equal to, and is going to be sorted of 0, which is the, well, let's actually, we can deconstruct this in min and max, and then we want to say for let I equals min, I less than or equal to max I plus plus, I plus plus. What is going on here? What we want to say is range push I, right? So now we have a range of all these numbers between them, and then what we want to say, what do we want to say? Let's try this. Let's say let smallest common equal to min multiplied by max, but this is not gonna work because, is it gonna work? Because the max number could actually be the small number multiplied by one of the numbers in between, right? I'm just wondering, this one seems a bit weird. Well, let's say then let's say for, okay, let's just say let smallest common equal to min, and then we're going to say well, let's make a helper function that basically you give it a number and an array, and then that an array and a number, and then that checks if that number can be divided by all the numbers in that array, right? So let's say function divided by any, and it gets an array and a product, and we want to say for let I equals 0, I less than array length I plus plus. What is the problem here? Okay, I'm trying to use like arrow function. Okay, we want to say if array of I module, actually if product modulo array of I is different than 0, which means it's not divisible by the product is not divisible by this particular element, what we want to say, we want to return false. If you went through all the array and it didn't return false, then we want to return true, right? Now this smallest common starts by min, and then we want to say for let I equals for let I equals to 1, because we don't want to put min again, we already put it, right? And I less than equal to max I plus plus. Well, no, actually I is not less than equal to max, is should be less than or equal to range length minus 1, which is the last element of it, right? What we want to say is if it's not divided by everything, so we're going to say if divided by any, and we're going to pass to this one, we're going to pass the range and the product, which is smallest common at the moment, the smallest common, right? If it's not divided by any, it means we don't have a good product yet. So what we want to say is we want to say smallest common will be smallest common multiplied by a range of I. And at the end we just want to return smallest common, and I'm sure this is not gonna work. Well, almost sure, because I'm sure I'm missing something. Well, almost sure. So let's try this. Console log smallest commons of 5 and 1. Let's check it out. We get 1. How is that possible? Start with 1. What is the range? Let's console log the range. Console. Whoop. How is the range? For let I equals min, I less than or equal to max, I plus plus, range push I. So how is range empty? Console log min and max. Clear. Okay, so we get 1 and 5. So then we say for let I equal 1, I less than equal to 5, I plus plus. Ah, that's the problem. Here I'm saying range push and I'm using something like this instead of using the correct parentheses. So let's check this again. Okay, so this one is telling me for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 120. Is this correct? Should return 60. So I'm not doing something correct. I am not sure. This one might be one for continuing next time because there's something weird about it. I'm basically multiplying, I think 5 120. I'm multiplying by what am I getting? I'm getting 60, so I don't need to multiply by 2 because we already have 4 in there. Maybe I should start. Maybe I should start by going from range length -1. I think maybe I should start going from the higher ones to the lowest ones, right? So I'm giving here a max, and then I'm starting this from a range length -1 until I is higher or equal to 1, and then we need an I minus minus. Right, so maybe this works better because we're starting with the bigger one, and then if that one was used and there's another divisor that's smaller than it that would be divisible by it, like for example if I multiply it by 4, I won't need to multiply by 2 again because it will already be divisible, right? All right, so let's check this. And for this one I'm getting 300. What the heck, now I'm getting more. What the heck is going on? I'm starting with max or range of I equals to range length -1. Oh, here it should be range length -2, not -1. Actually, no. Oh yeah, range length -2 because we're already using max here, right? So it should be -2. That's why it's doing, because you remember the result for this should be 60, but it's multiplying by 5 as well, which is already in here. So this is the correct one, but we just had a small mistake, right? So we get 60. Okay, so let's copy this. Let's take these console logs out because we don't need them. And this one as well. Let's run the tests. Oops, why is this not working? Again? Is there something wrong about this? Let me copy this back and try it with the numbers that they give and see why this might not be working. Let's just say console log, and we want console log smallest common of 2 and 10. See what we get. Oops. I think there are some pretty interesting things here, because if we multiply then 10 by 9 and then you have a 3 and then yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm sure something is wrong, but I'm wondering what would be the logic. 5040. So this one is actually going up to here as well, but why is it Why is it adding this as well? Less than or equal to 1. If is divided by smallest common equals to smallest common. Should I start with this with 1? If is divided by any of range and smallest common, then okay, let's console log the range every time. Console log range and smallest common and see what we get. So, well, the range is always the same. We get a range 10, then we get 90, then we get 720, then we get 5040, but why is it going to 500? So at this moment it got these two, and then 7, we got 10, 9, 8, 720, and then why is 720 is not divisible by 7, so it makes it 5040. It makes it 5040. What? 10 or 9, 90, multiplied by 8, 720, and then it's multiplied by 7 because it didn't find a divisor yet. So why do we need to get 2520? Is this divisible by 7? Yes, but how is it divisible by 7? How is this one? How is 8 or 9 or 10 divisible by 7? Why is it divisible by 7? No, wait, 720 is not divisible by 7. But how is something multiplied by something else divisible by 7? Which one of these things to which one of these things multiplied by something else is divisible by 7? I don't get it because 7 is a prime number. How do you get to 2520 from 360? How do you get to 2520 without using 7 in there? You're using 7, but you're using something smaller. So you're using the 7, but you're basically not using the 8 because you got a 2 and a 4, right? So you're not multiplying by 8 here, that's the problem. But then how do you make this work if you actually should go by Anyway, yeah, I usually don't do this, but I think I will stop this here for today, and we're going to do another one in like 2 days where we're going to get back to this one because it's weird. I think I solved the problem like this before, but for some reason I can figure it out now. But yeah, I will stop this live at like 1 hour and 15 minutes, and probably gonna get back to it in about 2 days or 3 days, something like that. Right, thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed some of this JavaScript exercise and have a good one. I'll see you next time.